Have you ever sat at an all-you-can-eat buffet staring at a mountain of fried chicken, sushi, and chocolate fountains, stuffing your face until your stomach literally hurts, only to walk away feeling deeply guilty? We've all been there. Modern society tells us this is a lack of willpower. We look at ourselves in the mirror and think, why can't I just stop eating? But what if the problem isn't your willpower? What if your brain is just doing exactly what it was designed to do to keep you alive? To prove this, we are going to conduct a psychological experiment. Imagine you have a time machine and you decide to bring your prehistoric ancestor, a perfectly healthy, intelligent Homo sapiens from 40,000 years ago, into the modern world. You don't take him to a museum or a park, you take him straight to a Golden Corral or a local luxury buffet. What happens next is not just a funny culture clash, it is a terrifying window into human biology, and it reveals the exact reason why modern humans struggle so deeply with obesity, diet culture, and eating disorders. By the end of this video, you will never look at a plate of food or your own cravings the same way again. As you walk through the automatic doors of the restaurant, your ancient friend immediately stops in his tracks. His eyes go wide, and his heart rate spikes. To you, this is just a slightly noisy restaurant with sticky floors. To him, this is the literal realm of the gods. For the entire history of the human race up to this point, finding food required intense, dangerous physical labor. You had to track an animal for days, risk your life throwing a spear at a wild urox, or spend 10 hours digging out bitter roots from the hard dirt. Food was scarce, unpredictable, and exhausting. And now, he is looking at a room where food is piled 3 feet high on massive silver trays. Endless meat, towers of bread, oceans of sweet sauces, and the most confusing part? No one is fighting. Strangers are calmly walking past piles of food, taking just a little bit and sitting down. Your friend watches a modern human walk up to a pile of shrimp, take 3, and walk away. To a caveman, this modern human looks completely insane. Why didn't he take all the shrimp? Why aren't the other humans attacking him to steal the shrimp? When you hand your ancient friend a plastic plate and tell him through gestures that he can take whatever he wants and as much as he wants, you have just broken his evolutionary reality. The concept of unlimited food does not compute in a prehistoric brain. In his world, if you find an abundance of food, it means one thing. You hit a jackpot that will vanish in 48 hours. Your ancestor does not slowly browse the salad bar. He goes straight for the heaviest, densest food he can find. Massive slabs of roast beef, fried potatoes, and bread. He sits down at the table and begins to eat at a terrifying speed. He isn't chewing slowly or savoring the flavor. He is packing his mouth as fast as humanly possible. You try to tell him, hey, slow down, there's plenty of food, it's not going anywhere. But he isn't listening. Why is he doing this? Because his brain is flooded with primal panic. Throughout human history, an abundance of food was always temporary. If your tribe successfully killed a large deer, you had to eat as much of it as possible right then and there. If you didn't, the meat would rot, or hyenas and wolves would smell it and come to kill you for it. Your ancestor's brain is screaming at him, eat everything right now, because tomorrow the winter hits. The animals migrate, and you will face a 3-week famine. And here's the part that will make you rethink your own life. Your brain has that exact same programming. When you open a bag of potato chips on the couch and promise yourself you'll only eat 5, but 40 minutes later you're scraping the salt off the bottom of the empty bag, that is not a failure of character. That is your inner caveman panicking, telling you to consume the high-calorie resource before it disappears. Halfway through the meal, you decide to introduce your friend to the dessert section. You hand him a single glazed chocolate donut. He takes a bite, and his brain quite literally short-circuits. He looks at the donut like it's a piece of alien technology. And in a way, it is. In nature, high-calorie foods are incredibly rare. If a prehistoric human wanted something sweet, they had to find a bush of wild berries, which were small, tart, and only available a few weeks a year. Or, if they were incredibly lucky and brave, they had to fight off a swarm of angry bees to get a few honeycombs. Because sugar and fat were so rare and so vital for survival, evolution built a reward system in our tongues. When your ancestor tasted something sweet or fatty, his brain released a massive wave of dopamine saying, "This is amazing. Remember this location, eat more of this." Modern food corporations know this. A glazed donut is an engineered cheat code for the human nervous system. It combines levels of refined sugar, processed fat, and salt that never existed in the natural world. It is a hyperstimulus. When your ancient friend eats that donut, the dopamine explosion in his brain is so massive that it overrides his stomach's signal that he is full. He will keep eating the desserts until he is physically sick, because his biology has no off switch for a food that didn't exist when his biology was being written. Towards the end of the day, something happens that changes your ancestor's mood from joy to profound sadness and confusion. He looks at the table next to you. A modern family is getting up to leave. On their plates, they have left behind half an eaten burger, a pile of French fries, and a mostly untouched slice of cake. A waitress walks over, scrapes all that perfectly good food into a black trash bag, and walks away. Your ancient friend is horrified. In the Stone Age, wasting food was an existential sin. To leave meat behind meant you insulted the animal that died, you endangered the tribe, and you wasted the life-saving calories your family needed to survive the next drought. He looks around the room and realizes the ultimate paradox of the modern world. Humans today live in a paradise of unlimited resources, a world our ancestors could only dream of in their highest myths. But instead of being happy, modern humans are deeply stressed. We count our calories, we look at the buffet with anxiety, we feel intense guilt for eating, and we throw away enough food to feed a prehistoric clan for a week. Your ancestor felt triumphant when he ate, because eating meant survival. You feel guilty when you eat, because abundance has become a threat. So what is the final answer to our experiment? What would an ancient human actually think of a modern buffet? He wouldn't think it's a restaurant, he would think it's a beautifully designed trap. He would realize that modern humans have successfully conquered the greatest enemy our species ever faced: starvation. But in doing so, we created a brand new enemy that we are totally unprepared for: infinite abundance. The reason you struggle with food cravings, the reason you can't say no to dessert, and the reason all-you-can-eat buffets make you feel so out of control isn't because there is something wrong with you. It's because you are still a beautifully adapted caveman wearing modern clothes, trying to survive in a world that is far too easy. Your brain isn't broken, it's just 40,000 years old, and it's still trying to save your life from a famine that is never coming. The next time you feel that intense urge to overeat, don't hate yourself. Just smile, take a deep breath, and tell your inner caveman, it's okay, we made it. The food isn't going anywhere.